on the bed.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Shanika. I hope everyone is good today. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a floral pillow. But before I go ahead and do that, I would ask you to subscribe to my channel. Also hit on the notification bell for my other videos. Leave a like and share this video with as much people as possible. Let us get the things that we would need. So what you need is paper, scissors, and something to write with. So now I'm going to just bend my paper in half, and I will be drawing a curve line, something kind of like a semicircle. And this, I bent it in half to make sure that the petal will be equal. So I'm just gonna cut that out right now, and after that you need to get something round to create a circle. You don't want anything too big or too small, so I'm just gonna draw out my circle and cut that out as well. Once you've cut out your circle, what you need to do is open your petal and make sure that it looks neat. If it is not neat enough, you can go ahead and do like me and give it one more cut and make sure that it is perfect. Once you've done that, go ahead and measure it to the circle. Alright, once it looks the way you want it to look, then you can grab your cloth and start drawing out the pattern so that we can cut it out. I am using red silky cloth for this tutorial, so I'm going to be drawing out the petal 5 times, and the cloth is bent, so I will have 10 pieces of petals at the end of cutting out my pattern. I am using gold, silky gold for my circle. I'm also bending the cloth in half so that I will have 2 circles once I've completed this pattern. It is very important to cut the pattern out and make sure that the cloth are equal. Make sure that they are at least the same sizes for sewing purposes, because you want to make sure that you get a round circle and not something oval. Alright, so this is my circles. I have 2 circles. I'm going to turn the right side on the inside, and I will be sewing around that circle with leaving a small area open so that I can stuff my sponge. And I'm also going to do the same thing for the petal, and I'm going to sew it in a U shape.
On the bed.
So this is how it looks after sewing it. As I told you before, once I've finished sewing it, you should have 5 petals and 1 circle. Now we're going to turn that inside out. Well, turn it to the right side, and this is how smooth and silky it looks. If you are someone who wants your material to look beautiful, you can go ahead and iron it before stuffing it, but I'm just going to leave it like that. After stuffing it, it's just going to fill itself out and look as beautiful as it was meant to be. So what I've noticed in my short time making pillows, when you use the sponge, that is the chipped up sponge, you will get a softer pillow to the touch. But when you use the stuffing like the cotton, you're definitely going to get something that's more firm. So it depends on your preference when it comes to the stuffing. So what you want to do after turning the material inside out on the right side, you want to make sure that it makes a flower. Once it can make a flower, then you've done what you're supposed to do. So like I said, I will be using the sponge, and this is how it looks. I'm going to be stuffing each and every one that I have here. I'm going to be stuffing my 5 petals and my little circle. Make sure that it is clean stuffing you're putting in there, just in case the pillow was to bust. You want to make sure that the stuffing is white and clean. After stuffing the petals and my little circle, I am going to make sure that I seal it by sewing a straight stitch across the opened area. This is how it looks after sealing it. If you have to remove any excess thread, you can go ahead and do that. But for me, I'm leaving them the way they look. They are perfect. And let's just form one more time the shape of the flower after sewing it. And here it looks good. And if you look on my circle, you can see how neat it is. You want to make sure that after stitching, everything looks great. So now I'm just going to take my petal, I'm going to squeeze it together, and I will be adding them around. I will be sewing them around the circle to create my floral pillow. So here I have some weave on thread. It's very strong thread. You can use things like nylon or crochet, embroidery thread of the same color. But for this tutorial, I want you all to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to be using this black thread. So I'm going to just take the thread and pass it in and out until it gets to the other end of the petal. Once this is done, I'm going to seal it with another tie. At least I'm going to seal it twice by tying it before adding it onto the circle. So I want to make sure that you seal this part. When you bring it together, it looks just wonderful with all the little pleats that the flowers have on it. Like I said before, if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and do that and hit the notification bell. So it is very important to put the circle on top of the flower to create a beautiful and perfect seal. You want to make sure that you're sewing as neat as possible. All right, so make sure that the thread cannot be seen, and if it can be seen, make sure that it is the same color with the circle. So if you have something like gold thread or yellow thread, you can definitely use that. Avoid using any fine thread or something that can fall apart easily. You can also use the hot glue and just glue this together for an easier and a simpler way of doing it, but I'm making sure that I sew it so that it lasts longer and it can be washed without coming or falling apart. So once I've done that, I will just seal it at each end to make sure that the petal is properly placed. I'm going to go ahead and add thread in and out of the petal like I did before. I'm going to seal it as well before going and adding it onto the flower. So make sure you seal it by giving it the same tie that you gave the first petal. That's very, very important. Continue to place the flower underneath the circle while sewing around. If you want your flower to be flexible, you do not have to join the petals, but if you want them to be a little more firm, you can definitely join the petals where they are gathered together just to keep it a little firmer. So that is just your preference. Then again, you can do what you feel like doing, but just make yourself comfortable. Alright, so once you're finished sewing all the petals around the circle, this is how it looks. So you want to make sure that you have a long piece of thread for the finishing look of the flower. So make sure that you turn it at the part that looks the neatest. So here I'm going to add for the finishing look some beads, some gold beads. You can add whatever you want to, what color you want to. So I'm going to add my beads inside of the thread, put enough to go around the circle on the flower. So that's very important. Make sure that you measure it properly, make sure that it is tight enough and it is not too much or too little. Once you've placed enough beads, you want to take your needle and pass it through the first set of beads that you had there to lock the beads in place. Once you're finished doing that, you're going to pass your needle underneath the flower at the circle area to make sure that it is properly locked. Then you're going to come up and you're going to be passing that needle between each bead to make sure that it is locked properly. This technique is very important. It keeps the beads in place. It also covers the sewing that you've done before. So if you have sewing that doesn't look that neat, it's going to hide that as well, and it's going to make sure that the beads doesn't fall off the flower. So once you're finished sewing each individual bead and keeping them in place, you're done and everything is set to go. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Make sure you leave a like on this video. This is a perfect gift to give to someone this Christmas if you're feeling like you want to just make it yourself or you do not have enough money to go ahead and buy any materials. Hit on the notification bell for all of my other videos and share this video. Also, you can make purchases by calling my number, which is 457-0605. I sell a lot of the things that I make. They are professionally made and made with good material. I hope you guys loved this video. I will be happy to post more videos for you very soon.
Sense on the bit.
Thank you for watching.